This is Kirk Berridge with TrackStar. Speaking of TrackStars, I'm with Bob Kreitz. We're at the Bob Kreitz Invitational in Navasota, Texas, which is just a little south of Texas A&M. Bob and I are from the same hometown. We went to the same high school, okay? Bob has the school record, Northwestern High School in Kokomo, Indiana, 10 and a half?
Yes.
In 1972, okay? I went 13-3, wasn't even in Bob's league, but I knew who Bob Kreitz was the first day I walked into junior high, and I saw the records for boys and girls, track records for junior high and high school, and all of us athletes were just amazed at what Bob Kreitz did. And so, Bob, what's a memory or something that you have from pole vaulting at Northwestern High School?
Probably one of the really good things is Gary Hunter, which he flew in today from a meet from Indiana. And the fact that he came and jumped with me when he was younger. My coach used to bring in the top jumpers in the state so we could jump in these summer meets and that, just to give me and my brothers a little bit more competition. Mike Hanna used to come in when he jumped against Bob Seagren back in the day. And that was the time I really liked a lot.
So at Northwestern High School, you went to the state meet, I'm sure. How did you do in the state meet? Do you remember?
My freshman year, I was the youngest to win a medal. I got 5th place. I jumped 13:10, which was an age group world record. And then the next year, I placed 3rd. My senior year, I did not go, because they had to cancel the meet and postpone it until the following week. But I was already entered into the first international prep meet that was in Illinois. And so since I'd already been at the state meet before, I just, my coach and that decided, hey, go where the competition is. And
your coach, the legendary Bob Rodebaugh?
Bob Rodebaugh, yeah.
Wow. Okay, now, Bob, one thing, we never met. We never met until this year in Houston at a USA Track and Field Masters meet. Right. But I've known who you are for a long time. One of the things I remember hearing about you when I was pole vaulting in high school at Northwestern, somebody said, Bob Kreitz, yeah, man, he used to hitchhike to track meets in the 1970s with his pole. Is that true?
I don't know if I did a lot of different things, but I got there any way I could. And mom took us most of the time. And
it must be some folklore,
I
legendary
would
tale,
ride with whoever I could.
because we heard that. We're like, oh man, we knew this guy was good, but man, he was on a different level. He's hitchhiking to track meets.
Well, you found
1970s style. How cool!
In.
Right on.
Yeah.
Now, tell me about a memory. Okay, Indiana University. Were you the Big Ten champ at Indiana?
I Big Ten. I don't remember what year, but I placed every year at the Big Tens.
Okay.
Qualified for NCAAs.
Were you on scholarship, or
I was
did you
on
walk
full
on?
scholarship.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Olympic trials. Were you in the Olympic trials in 1976 and 1980?
76, I was in the Olympic trials. 1980, they boycotted. The last meet I jumped when I quit was the Mason-Dixon Games in Louisville, Kentucky. And after that, Dixon Boffman, that I used to jump with, that was from Kokomo. He was a couple years older. He got hit head on in a car accident and broke his femur. And that was when I hung it up, because they were going to be boycotting the Olympics.
That was 1980.
1980.
And then when did you get back into pole vaulting?
And then in 98, I'd moved to Texas and everything, and I'd been working for Dow Chemical. And I had a neighbor that found out that I used to pole vault and wanted to know if I would coach their son. And it's been history ever since.
Okay. Okay. How old are you right now? 68?
68.
And you're still pole vaulting?
Still pole vaulting.
That's
as long as the
sick,
body
man.
keeps rolling.
Yes. And what's the highest you've jumped in your 60s?
In my 60s, I was trying to be about the third 60-year-old to clear 13 feet. In fact, it was one of the first meets that I hosted.
Okay.
And I was 60 years old, and I'd made 12.6 that day. and I was jumping at 13 feet, and I have a foot issue, which I had to get orthotics made for and not have an operation. I still deal with it today.
So Bob, when you were at IU, was Sam Bell coaching there?
Sam Bell was there, Aubrey Dooley, which was one of the transition from steel to fiberglass. And then
Sam Bell was a legendary coach
Oh, yeah.
for IU track, and
Yeah.
IU was a Big Ten powerhouse, usually
Yeah.
won the Big Ten conference.
we had,
So
matter of fact, all of the big Indiana high school jumpers went to IU.
what's the highest you ever jumped in your life?
I jumped 17:10 and a half was my official best.
Okay.
18.
And what's the biggest size pole that you were ever on, length and test weight?
16 foot, 190, 195, but I only held 14.8.
That's awesome, man.
So it was
You
probably
told
a
me you
lot
also
stiffer.
threw the javelin at IU.
I did. Sam thought I needed another event, and so I started throwing the javelin, and I ended up throwing 235 was my best.
That's outstanding. That's
I
good.
did do a decathlon one time,
Mm-hmm.
and that was pretty good.
Okay.
But
Thanks for having me down here at the Bob Kreitz Invitational, and it's just been really cool to meet you and to get to know you and stuff like that. You've made some introductions for me just personally that have helped me personally, and then also professionally with TrackStar and stuff.
I would tell you, this facility here is a pole vaulter's dream, whether you're young or old. You know, it's a great playground.
It is.
It keeps you wanting to do it. You know?
We could do a story on its own of just this facility. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's great.
Well, thanks for turning me on to this, and thanks for being cool and stuff. I knew you'd be cool when I met you, cool and tough. You're definitely Kokomo, Indiana, man.
Oh yeah.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Now, I think that Bob Kreitz is the most accomplished athlete to come out of Kokomo, Indiana, and Northwestern High School. I mean, I can't think of another world-class athlete. Like Olympic trials. I mean, that's world-class. That's amazing, man.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Where were the
facilities.
where were the Olympic trials in 1976?
Eugene, Oregon.
Okay.
February 1980 is when I quit.
Okay. Okay.
And I never followed it or anything until around 98.
That's wild, man. Okay. All right.
I didn't think there was a life like this.
You know, when I was a young person, I never would have thought that I would be doing masters track and field or anything, because I always kind of had this attitude like, you know, I don't know, I didn't want to watch older athletes, and I definitely as an athlete didn't want to be in the way of anyone, but I love USA Track and Field Masters. I love
Probably
it.
when I started coming in, I noticed that there was a lot of people, a lot of other ex-jumpers coming out of the woodwork, you know, that probably wouldn't do it, but a lot of people didn't really know about it that much.
Yeah.
You know, back in our time, those asphalt runways, 90-degree boxes, I don't know if you know that.
Mm-hmm.
They're 105 now, but they were 90. So your pole bent into it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, when we were in high school, you had to move the pit maybe 2 or 3 feet back from the box. So you had something to land on because, you know, the pits weren't that big. And one of my world records that I broke, the standards only went to 13 feet. So they had to put them on these little tables, like, you know, they were kind of a pressed wood or whatever, that they stamped these round base standards on, and aluminum crossbar, and it looked like it was about that wide.
Yeah, those were gnarly, man. I hurt my back on one of those in
But it
seventh
didn't
grade.
scare me a bit, you know?
Yeah, no, I did on high jump. We had a practice pit with a real hard mat and one of those triangle bars, and I literally I cut myself open, had white meat hanging out of my back, and I didn't tell anyone because we had the county meet the next day, and I didn't want to miss the meet, and I ended up jumping higher because I didn't want to hit that bar.
That's right.
All right.